Hi, Professor Wall. This is Ahmed, and we will present to you the project presentation, Part D, for the DSV Global Transport and Logistics. It's prepared by Group 1. The hazard risk will be prepared by Amanda, the operational risk by Anna, the financial risk by Adina, and the strategic risk by me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Athena, and in this presentation, we will be covering topics such as executive summary for the company, the different risk maps, risk register, and then we'll be moving on towards the risk indicators for each risk.
In the executive summary, we present the challenge statement. We also talked about the background of DSV, which is uh, providing the air, sea, road, and rail transportation. We also presented the goal and the research methodology, which has been added at the end of the research. And finally, we presented the group recommendation at the end of the research.
Hi everyone, I'm Amanda and I'm gonna talk about the hazard risks. And the first one is workplace safety incident, and moving from inherent risk with likelihood 5, impact 5, to residual risk likelihood 3, impact 3. The control action 1 is safety training for heavy haul operations, and moving to target risk with likelihood 1, impact 1, the control action 2 is collision avoidance devices and insurance for high value shipments. So now I assess the risk with likelihood 1 and impact 1. For the second risk, natural disaster, extreme weather, moving from inherent risk with likelihood 5 and impact 5 to residual risk likelihood 3, impact 3. The control action 1 is winter contingency planning, route adjustments, weather alerts, and coordination with airports. Moving to target risk likelihood 1 and impact 1, the control action 2 is climate resistant infrastructure, backup power, and predictive analytics. So now the final assessment is target risk with likelihood 1 and the impact 1.
Hi, my name's Anna, and the operational risks that the group decided to pick are IT systems and global economic conditions. Moving from an inherent risk, likelihood 5 and impact 5, to residual risk, likelihood 3 and impact 3, the group decided to go with control action 1, which is having all employees complete training simulations. Moving from a residual risk, likelihood 3 and impact 3, to target risk, likelihood 1 and impact 1, the group decided to go with control action 2, which is modernizing DSV's IT infrastructure. I assess these risks to be targeted with likelihood 1 and impact 1. For global economic conditions, moving from an inherent risk, likelihood 5 and impact 5, to residual risk, likelihood 3 and impact 3, the group decided to go with control action 1, which is using AI-driven computer visions. Moving from a residual risk, likelihood 3 and impact 3, to target risk, likelihood 1 and impact 1, the group decided to go with control action 2, which is the acquisition with Shanker. We assess these risks to be targeted with likelihood 1 and impact 1.
So moving on towards the financial risk, the two risks we will discuss in this slide are the credit risk and the liquidity risk. Credit risk occurs when customers delay or fail to pay on time, which affects DSV's cash flow. On the map, this begins as the inherent risk with likelihood 5 and impact 5. Um, with control like digital invoicing, credit checks, and better payment monitoring, it moves to residual risk at likelihood 3 and impact 3. Finally, early payment discounts and automated reminders reduce it further to the target risk level at likelihood 1 and impact 1. Moving on towards the liquidity risk. Liquidity risk is DSV's ability to access cash for short-term obligation. This also starts at inherent risk with likelihood 5 and impact 5. After actions like increasing a liquidity buffer and improving working capital management, the risk moves to residual risk at a likelihood 3 and impact 3. With automated liquidity monitoring and stronger treasury oversight, it reaches the target risk level at likelihood 1 and impact 1.
Hi, this is Ahmed, and I will talk about the strategic risk. The first one is the economic uncertainty, the moving from inherent risk, likelihood 5, and impact 5 to residual risk, likelihood 3, and impact 3. We decided to take the control action 1, which is the monitoring of geopolitical developments on a weekly basis, moving from residual risk, likelihood 3, and impact 3 to target risk, likelihood 1, and impact 1. The group decided to take the control action 2, which is expanding the local logistics of the operations. This second strategic risk is the Schenker acquisition challenges, moving from inherent risk, likelihood 5, and impact 5 to residual risk, likelihood 3, and impact 3. The group decided to take the control action 1 by establishing an integration plan and team for traceability, moving from residual risk, the likelihood 3 and impact 3, to target risk, likelihood 1 and impact 1. The group decided to take the control action 2 by implementing regular phased communication plan. Thank you.
For a risk register, pure risk, we have identified IT systems which, as you can see, have an inherent risk of 5-5. By doing control action 1 and having training simulations, we've moved that into residual risk of 3-3. And moving it from 3-3 residual risk, we have applied modernizing IT infrastructure, which then moves to a targeted risk of 1-1.
So for the credit risk, the inherent score started at likelihood 5 and impact 5, mainly due to the possibility of delayed or missed payments from customers. So the control action 1, which is the digital invoicing, customer credit checks, and stronger payment monitoring, reduce the risk to residual likelihood 3 and impact 3. To further lower the exposure, the other control actions we propose are the early payment discounts, automated reminders, and the advance payments from high risk clients, which further brings the risk to the target level of likelihood 1 and impact 1. And at this level, the risk will be fully controlled.
For the hazard risks KRIs, we look at two areas. First, for the workplace safety, we check how many incidents is happening each month and how many employees finished their safety training. and if people are following the heavy haul safety rules. Second, for the extreme weather, we check how many delays or cancellations are caused by bad weather and how fast operations go back to normal and how many routes have a winter plan and how often the weather alerts are sent and responded.
The operational risk KPI that we've identified is one, training employees yearly for cybersecurity education, and also using a tracking system to report on training completeness company-wide, as well as doing regular risk assessments by tracking global conflicts through not only news outlet, but also viewing economic shifts on a monthly basis and reporting those to the company with the plans to mitigate.
So, for the financial risk, our first key risk indicator is the day sales outstanding, or the DSO. This tracks how long DSV customers take to pay their invoices. If the DSO increases, it means payments are delayed, which can create cash flow pressure and raise our credit risk. Monitoring this number helps DSV identify clients who may default or require tighter credit controls. The second key risk indicator is the liquidity coverage ratio. This measures how much cash or cash equivalent reserves DSV has available to cover short term financial obligations. If the LCR drops, it signals the company may not have enough liquidity to handle unexpected expenses or market disruptions. Tracking this ratio helps ensure the company remains financially stable during high demand or crisis situations.
The two key risk indicators of the strategic risk are: the first one is strengthening the local capabilities by expanding the local and regional logistics and establishing the strategic partnerships with the local suppliers and logistic providers. The second one is implementing a structured integration program by establishing an integration team and provide training programs and regular feedbacks. The two main references are Abbas and Watson, 2023, Risk Management, Supply Chain and Operations Perspective, the first edition, and the second one is Annual Report 2024, the 48th financial year for the DSV. On behalf of the group, thank you, Professor Well, for reviewing our research and wish you a good time.